I played basketball until I was in high school, and then started wrestling after that. I just tried out for the team and continued to get to try out. My parents were great for me. My dad really loved the sport of wrestling. He wrestled also. My freshman year was a learning experience. I believe I was like 27-8 in the folk style. And then I went out and wrestled Greco-Roman and freestyle. When I did that, my dad was very supportive in that he brought me to many tournaments. When I was going to those tournaments, I lost my first 20 matches. And then I continued my sophomore year. I started getting good enough to really do the job. Me, I was just trying to get good in wrestling. I figured it was a lot easier to learn how to wrestle than it was to just cut weight. My sophomore summer, I won the Greco Nationals, took third in the freestyles. Then I went on, and my junior year made a junior world team and took second in the state. Junior year, I won the Junior Olympics, and I won the USWF also. In between my junior and senior year was a big change for me. I went to Japan. When I went to Japan, I trained. I trained at the Kodokan for judo. I'm a third-degree Sandan, third-degree black belt in judo. I also trained at Hosei University for wrestling. It was a big influence in that they taught me respect. They taught me a lot more about the depth of training, and it really was something that helped change my life in the sport. My senior year, I went on, and I believe I was undefeated. I won the state. I won both Greco and freestyle for Junior Olympics, which was the AAU. I also won the USWF Greco and freestyle. I was the first 5-time national champion in the USWF. I think the reason that I was able to become good so fast was, one, because of believability. I believed that I could beat a lot of people. My dad sent me to camps, which also gave me the ability to wrestle with other kids. And when I was there, I really wrote down notes, studied the sport, picked up books, always reading about wrestling, looking at the pictures, learning the moves.
A true student of the game in my book, always learning, always trying to be better in the sport, and was one of the toughest competitors that I've ever seen.
I challenged myself constantly within my mind, not just to utilize many techniques, but to dominate someone, to not just score a point, but destroy them. I credit a lot of my success to the fact that I was disciplined. I didn't dissipate much. I wasn't a big partier. Of course, all of us have those opportunities, but I would rather be training than going out. I went to the University of Oklahoma because of Jim Humphrey and Stan Abel.
We went up there, and Andre had like a list of 32 things he'd ask everybody. Gable and Chesbro and Harold Nichols, they're in his room right now. They've been up there the last couple hours. And I said, wait, just freeze a minute. I said, but let me tell you, I'm the first one to admit that every one of these schools, the top 4 schools in the country at that time, are in their living room, and they all got great programs. Wherever you go, you've got a great chance to be a national champion. And I said, but I can save all this to you. I said, I think, unless they stop, that they would admit that we can develop you and become a national champion too. And I said, but I'll tell you why you're going to come to the University of Oklahoma. You like Jim Humphrey and you like me better than you do any one of these guys. And boy, you could have heard a pin drop.
The end line was the color, red and white. I like red and white better than I do black or orange.
And I've never known anyone that was more intense or more tenacious than Andre. I mean, he wanted to beat you eating breakfast in the morning, playing video games, whether it was a run, 6-mile run, whatever it was. He wanted to beat you, and he wouldn't stop until he did.
Jim was second in the world, had already placed second in the world. So Jim Humphrey was a big influence on me too, to help me and develop my skills even further and my strength.
you don't make national champions. You give them the opportunity to become one. You know, you give them the workout room, the facilities, the workout partners, the scheduling. Never one time during the 4 years I had him on that varsity team did I ever question his intent. He was just as sincere about wanting to be the best he could be as I was wanting him to be there.
He was a two-time national champion, four-time All-American, and one of the hardest workers I've ever been around. Running the stadium stairs, he was always battling with Mark Schultz to see who would be first. And his tenacity was just unparalleled. I mean, he would just grind guys into the mat. He'd fight and fight and fight and just refuse to lose, and that's why he was such a great champion.
My style is developed by becoming a sponge of knowledge and a filter of the information of the people that I have influenced me through this sport. So I mean, I attest all the technique to never saying never, never stopping. If somebody says, well, I don't want to wrestle Greco, I don't want to do this, you know, there's so many people out there today that want to pick a style, they're calling it. I think if we become more diverse, I think we'll become stronger. And that's what I was. 6 times I placed in the Worlds. I was a medalist 4 times, and it's interesting that people say, well, that junior world, that wasn't a senior world level. Well, how many of them made the junior worlds? Probably my strongest opponent was Fedzayev. But I respect all my opponents. I respect everybody, fear nobody. Well, I feel like being inducted into the Hall of Fame is something that I've earned through my accomplishments in the sport of wrestling. And I appreciate it, all the people that decided to put me into this, the Hall of Fame. It means that I'm one of the people in this sport that have dedicated their athletic career to a sport that is, in my opinion, the greatest sport in the world.